So it's that time again, it's prediction time, round 3 of the Six Nations. Welcome to this video supported by Lifting Giants. Let's get into it. Last time round, well, I wasn't too bad. Scotland, I said, would beat France, and I want to go with my gut a little bit more on these predictions this year, be a bit bolder, and Scotland nearly beat France, and many would say they did beat France, but the official score was, of course, they didn't, but still happy with that one, even though it wasn't right. I said Ireland would have a decent sized win against Italy, but it was a lot better than what I thought. And I said England would win a close game against Wales, closer than I'd have liked as an England fan, but they did. So 2 out of 3, pretty happy with that. And this weekend, it's a moving weekend. The weekend where you can find yourself out of the Six Nations, still in the Six Nations, still in the hunt for a Grand Slam or out of the hunt for a Grand Slam. So much happens in round 3. Let's get into it. First of all, Ireland versus Wales. Ireland, they're a little short, I guess. Hugo Keenan's not there. We know Mac Hansen's not there. Ringrose isn't fit again. But the Irish system has seen players slot in pretty seamlessly. Jack Crowley is looking good, although it's only his 3rd game in a row there. Joe McCarthy looks like the real deal physically. Ryan Baird is a serious athlete. He's coming off the bench. And they bring that energy, that physicality to the team. So yeah, there's some new players and they're not quite at full strength, but goodness me, it's so hard to say anything but an Irish win. Against Italy last week, the Italians were very passive in defence, and I've commented that in videos before. That's a clear tactic for Italy to try and soak up the pressure, but it didn't work. I don't think Wales will go for that approach. I think they will go for the high line speed, get in their faces, try and disrupt the flow. And we saw last week with the likes of Tommy Raffel, they can indeed spoil that ruck or even turn over that ruck. So I expect Wales to be a lot more frustrating than Italy. So even though I think Ireland will win, I would say that it will be a closer win and it will be a harder battle. Anyway, away to Dublin, it's going to be tough. If Wales did win, it would be one of the greatest wins of Gatland's career, I guess, and yellow cards, red cards can happen, of course, but I think a win by about 14 points seems about right to me for Ireland, but it could be a really decent game. Then on to Scotland versus England, and we know Scotland have a great record against England, and Scotland are at home, but England have developed this habit of winning. They did it in the World Cup, they've done it so far in the Six Nations. Are England going to play a bit more of an attacking game, a running game, or are they going to stick to the kicking game? And they've been very successful with the kicking game. We know their wingers, Elliot Daly, Tommy Freeman, are excellent chasers. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ford did put some testers up. But we will see. Maybe they will try and play a more expansive game. They've got a bit more power there with Ollie Lawrence. What's going to be super interesting is to see how Scotland choose to attack England, because they know England are going to persist with the new rush defence, and normally Scotland would back their skills to go around that defence or wrong foot that defence, but it does leave space in behind a rushing line for some clever crossfield kicks, for some chips, and of course Finn Russell is very good at that. And also at fullback, they've gone for a quicker fullback in George Furbank, maybe to cover more ground in behind, but he's probably not as good as Freddie Stewart under the high ball, so maybe they'll just try and test him early on. So Scotland have some serious options there. I wonder which one they're going to take. Let me know. And a word for our sponsor, Lifting Giants. They've designed these ergonomic lifting blocks, and World Rugby tells us that nearly half of tries come from line-out, so they are super important. They handed over the lifting blocks to a university to test, and these are the stats that came up. Nearly 10% in improved hand placement, overall nearly 9% in line-out quality, so well worth a look at these reusable lifting blocks. 10% off with the code RugbyAnalyst10. England do have a few boosts in there. They've got Ollie Lawrence back, which I think is big for them, to give them some actual power in that midfield. But Blair Kinghorn returns for Scotland, which I think boosts them. But England have got some big bangers coming off the bench there. We've got Cunningham South, George Martin, and if they actually are brave enough to get Faye Wabusu on the pitch for a decent length of time, that's some serious pace coming off the bench, some serious power coming off the bench. And my head, yeah, it says Scotland, but I think my gut is saying England might upset it, and I said I'm going to be bolder here, so let's go for it. A shock win for England by 3 points, with those guys coming off the bench, the likes of Theo Dan, George Martin Chandler Cunningham-South and Emmanuel Faye-Wabusu having a big impact. So maybe I'm being very wishful as an England fan, but I'm going to put my neck on the line and say England shot win by 3. So please do come at me and tell me how wrong I am, especially if England do end up losing, but I'm going to go for it. Shock win for England. Then finally on to France versus Italy, and we had the teams out today so we know what we've got, and there were some rumours of a bit of disquiet in the French camp. Gautier's been getting some stick definitely, and the normal untouchable Sean Edwards, his defence has been called into question, and France were close to kind of being out of the Six Nations. Against Scotland, they were close to 2 losses in a row, and if that had happened, well, maybe the disquiet would have ramped up even more. Gautier, there might have been calls for him to go, but anyway, they got that win. And the selection news is they're going for it. They're chucking in the 19-year-old, the new Tuolangi on the block, Pasolo Tuolangi, a huge second row, just amazing at 19. He's got that physical ability to play at this level, and I think he does. He's not going to be at his best at 19, but goodness me, the guy can carry with the best of them. He can hit some big tackles. It's a shame, though, that their talisman number 8, Aldrit, is out, and we know Dupont is making his debut on the 7 circuit. So with Italy, a couple of tweaks there. I have said in previous match reports that I'm not sure about Stephen Varney at number 9. They haven't had a class number 9 for a while. So Quesada, the new coach, is rolling the dice. He's trying Martin Pedrero to see how he goes. Let me know if you think that was a good call. I haven't seen him play yet. But Italy haven't really shown they've got the grunt to cause a massive upset. And we've seen that even if France play poorly, their scrum power, their maul power, just the big carriers, just one off the 9 is enough to get them those tries. And I don't think Italy are well equipped to deal with that anyway. So I'm going to go for a French win by maybe around 21 points. Okay guys, let me know what you think of those predictions. What would yours be? And I'll catch you next time.